Good morning and welcome everyone to race number 8 of the Night Racing League Sports Car Championship. We are at Spa-Francorchamps for the finale of what has been an exceptional season. And as you can see, it is dark outside this race with a 5:30 a.m. race start. We're going to go from night to day as we settle the championships and what has been the closest sports car championship we've had in 4 years on the Night Racing League. We're watching the 717 of Andreas Sakalas, your points leader in GTE Pro. This is the final race for these cars, and we have an incredible battle set up as we'll look at the points. Andreas at 159, a 2-point advantage over the 91 car of Englishman James Posland. There he is in his Porsche RSR. It's been an incredible season. James with the win at Daytona. It's been up and down. He's got 4 podiums since then. And it's 2 points as Andreas has been sort of limping into the finish line here. He needs a good race to cement this championship. And let's not forget the Canadian, the 28 of Hayden Fowler in the Corvette C8R. Just 6 points back. Mr. Consistency has been there all year long, and one more race like that, he could find himself a Night Racing League champion at the end of today's 2 hours. We're so excited to have you with us here on our final day. Registration opens tomorrow for the season number 4. All these drivers are excited as the team championship will get underway next season. Check out the schedule. We'll put it up here on the screen. There it is, starting on the 8th of January. Practices will start the previous Tuesday and Thursday, and we will see everybody in a 2-hour race on the Barcelona Historic Track. That's all next season. We're concerned about today right now. We've also had some other interesting developments. There is Dennis Rotter, your LMP champion. And even though it's dark outside, it's not difficult to tell as he's trying to set up something in his cockpit probably, but that is a new livery on that car. The team championship is already starting to show some details as the champion in LMP2 is here with a new livery and a new driver, Jan Volmers, running the same livery. Here we have car number 32, and looks like we have the first indications of a new team for season number 4. Where does that leave Thomas Brommel? I was talking to him earlier this week, and he is working on team ideas, and nothing to be announced until next week when registration is officially open. You see there the 185 of Yori Matchison as well in the pit lane. Yori's got himself a nice little niche in 4th place. Had a rough start to the season, missed a couple of races, but he has been super fast and actually topping the timesheets here today. So how will that play in to the GTE battle? Certainly if he just goes on and wins the race, that's not going to affect it too much. 2 and 6 points, the deficit to Posland and Fowler, respectively. It should be an incredible day of racing. I cannot wait to see how this plays out. Earlier this week, I did walk up and down the pit road and got to talk to all 3 of the title contenders in GTE Pro. All right, we're here with the championship leader in GTE Pro, Andreas Sakalas. How you doing, Andreas?
Yeah, I'm doing great. A bit stressed about the race, but otherwise good.
Well, you've got a massive 2-point lead, so it should be pretty comfortable. What do you think?
I don't think it's enough.
It's been a fantastic season. 3 wins: Road America, Road Atlanta, and Sebring. A little bit tougher in the second half, and it kind of started off when you missed that race when you were ill. But it has made for a great championship. How's your week been? Are you prepared for Saturday? And how do you think in going into the final race?
Yeah, it's been a great season so far, except those couple of races that I did not manage to finish as high as I wanted. But yeah, and this week was a bit tough, I would say. I'm getting used to the setup a bit, so it still need practice laps. But hopefully I'll be ready for the race and keep the championship leading.
How is the race starting in the dark going to affect your strategy?
I think it's easier for me to start in the dark than in the daytime. It's just, I think it's easier just to drive around. There is no more shining sun into your eyes. It's, yeah.
Oh, very good. Very good. Well, we'll leave you to it. Wish you all the best of luck, and thanks for a great season of racing. The class has been something else to watch.
Yeah, thanks for organizing this.
No problem. Andreas Sakalas, driver of the 717 Porsche RSR, championship leader going into the final round. All right, and just a short stroll down pit lane. We're with the 91, James Posland, second place in the championship going into the final round. How's it going, James?
Doing good, thanks. How are you?
I'm doing great, and I cannot wait to watch and see what happens on Saturday. How's your week been going, and how are you looking forward to the final race?
Yeah, looking forward to it. Obviously excited. Practice has gone fine, really. I think everyone's looking pretty close, which is never a surprise. Yuri looks slightly about half a second ahead of everyone. But other than that, it looks really tight. So yeah, it's looking competitive as always.
Well, that'll be great for the final race. You've been the model of consistency. You won the opener, and 4 second-place finishes. Obviously, it's competitive here. How does the nighttime start? Is that going to affect anything, do you think?
No, I don't think so, really. I mean, it's going to be quite nice to drive in because it'll just be nice and cool track temps. So it being dark, I don't think it's a problem. We'll all be doing plenty of practice in these conditions. So no, it'll be interesting, obviously. Having a dark start, but no, I don't think it'll affect anything really.
All right, I mean, and let's face it, everybody in this series is pretty experienced doing 24-hour races anyway, so yeah, it's not a new experience for anyone, is it?
No, and with the Spa 24 as well, I mean, people are pretty used to this track. I mean, to be honest, it's not a track that I actually drive a lot or particularly enjoy that much. I know it's such a famous track, but it's not one that I spend too much time running, so I'll be trying to do as much practice throughout the week as I can, really.
All right, and 1 stop, 2 stops. How's the strategy look for GTE this week?
It's pretty straightforward. It's just going to be a 2-stop for everyone. So that's not as ideal, I guess, for the Corvettes because it's not as much a fuel race. But the tyres will be important, and they're good on those, and so we have to be careful with those in the Porsche. But fuel-wise, it'll just be like 2 45-minute stints and then a half an hour race to the end.
Well, that's good. That'll leave it in the driver's hands, so that sounds like that'll be great too.
Yeah, for sure. And I think car-wise, it's going to be really competitive. So let's see.
Well, we wish you all the best of luck. Thanks for a great season of excitement here. The GTE class is always the class to watch, it seems. And we wish you all the best of luck for Saturday.
Thanks, cheers.
All right, that's James Posland, driver of the 91 Porsche RSR, 2 points back as we head into the final round. And here we are with the final of the 3 contenders. The driver of the number 28 Corvette C8R, sadly in its final race in the KRL. This is Hayden Fowler, 6 points back in GTE Pro. How you doing, Hayden?
I've been doing good.
How's the week of testing been going for you here at Spa?
I'm a bit slower than I would like to be honest.
And that's just, what is that down to, do you think?
Just combination of things. I'm not really quick at Spa, so I'm just kind of trying to minimize and just hoping to find some pace somewhere.
All right, well, it's a 2-hour race this week, and we know that kind of takes fuel strategy out of the question for the GTEs, but definitely tire strategy comes into play. Is that possibly an advantage for the Corvette? Because we know the Porsches have had trouble, especially with the rears.
If you want to be even on even on pace with the Porsches, you really need to throw it in a lot of corners, and that's just chewing up the tires. So I think driving like similar like stable cars, I think the Porsche is a bit worse in tires, but the amount of the how hard you need to push the Corvette to catch the Porsches is going to chew up the tires, so I think we're going to be quite even.
Okay, well, it's been even all year, so that's interesting to hear that. It's been a great season for you. You've got 5 podiums and a win at Monza. Actually, the end of the season has been pretty good. You've really gained ground on the other 2 drivers. You think you're going to be able to keep that up into this last weekend?
Well, I hope, but Spa hasn't been historically my best track, so just going to hopefully avoid the X's, and I think I'll do quite well.
Yeah, that's a big thing here at Spa. Even with the new track limits, you can still collect them pretty quick if you're not careful, so definitely precision is going to help as well.
Definitely.
Well, it's been a fantastic season, and we wish you all the best of luck on Saturday. It's basically winner take all with only 6 points between them. So we wish you the best of luck, Hayden, and have a good race Saturday.
Thank you.
Hayden Fowler, driver of the number 28 Corvette C8R. And we will see who of the 3 will be the champion on Saturday. Well, you can hear in their voices how close this championship is going to be. Everybody now just getting back into the pit lane with the warm-up just about completed. We haven't even talked about the GT3 battle yet. Those cars are here. We've got new drivers coming in. It's going to be a huge day. Let's check out the starting grid. The final race of the season sees Thomas Brommel on pole in LMP2 with a 2-minute 00.784 alongside his ex-teammate Dennis Rotter, 2 minutes .863. Newcomer Jan Volmers is in row 2 alongside the 99 of Jennifer McDonald. The 473 of Oliver Schlabs and Eric Fox make up row number 3, with night racing teammates Andreas Schwarz and the 6 of Keith Rainey in row 4. Paul Seeley will line up in 9th with a 2:02.452. The final race for GTE Pro sees Yori Matchison on pole with a 2:10.287 alongside championship contender James Posland. Andreas Sakalas and Ivan Zirno rake up row number 2, with Max Riebensteiner and the final championship contender Hayden Fowler at 2:11.438. Kevin Hensel and Aidan Campbell in row 4 with Imantas Shalakis and Piers Berry as the BMWs have shown up at Spa. Leighton Cater lines up in the 199 at the back of the field. GT3 AM has Marcel Struff in the 78 on pole with a 2:16.618 beside the championship winner Jacob Wally. Jan Spammers and Rohan Kelly are in row number 2 with Rob Rodriguez and Lincoln Russell 5 thousandths apart in row number 3. Enos Bothma and Nicholas Scott make up row 4 with Steve Groninga and Alex Jensen making his first appearance in the GT3 AMs. 30 cars take the green lights for the season finale, 2 hours at Spa. And the cars now just getting ready to grid for this season finale. 2 hours around Spa. We haven't even talked about some of the other points battles. LMP2 Jennifer McDonald in second place. She's only 4 points ahead of Clayton Barklow, who is not here. He's going to be possibly missing a spot on the podium. Thomas Brommel tied with Clayton at 110, so there's only 4 points between Jennifer and Thomas Brommel. We'll watch that battle. And GT3 AM, of course, Jan Spammers in second place in the 199, a 3-point advantage over Enos Bothma. Marcel Struff just 6 points back at 97 in fourth, so very, very close points battles going on, not just the championship battle in GTE Pro. as everybody gets ready here. The LMPs, usually later to get gridded. They have a lot of tire temperature problems. They like to grid as late as possible to keep their pressures and tires as warm as they can. But we are rolling for the final round of Season 3 in the Night Racing League. The GTEs wait for an 8-second gap. The start line for the LMPs will be down the hill towards Eau Rouge, and the GTEs will get the start on the regular start-finish line. That's where the start-finish line is, but the green flag starts after Eau Rouge for the LMPs. The GTEs are rolling. James Posland in the front row, qualifying second ahead of Andreas Sakalas, who's third. Hayden Fowler outside of row 3 in 6th. The GTEs are rolling now. Marcel Struff, an incredible pole position. He's been looking great here at Spa. He's lined up beside the champion, Jacob Wally. And through La Source and down the hill comes Thomas Brommel, the unleashed driver. And we are ready for the green flag. 2 hours at Spa is underway. And Brommel will lead down the hill. Dennis Rotter in behind. Jans Boulders in third place. The GTEs get the green flag, and they have taken La Source, and they're down the hill side by side. Posland going for the lead. Matheson will have the inside row and go up the hill to Radillon in first. Side by side down into Lake Combe. Dennis Rotter has a look, but Brommel's able to hold him off. And there's all kinds of action in GTE in behind. And that is Max Riebensteiner has spun. We've got contact in behind. That is Shilakis and Zirano. Up front at GT3, Am. Oh, and spinning around, that is Jacob Wally. He took the lead into Lake Combe, but he's lost it on the exit. No contact there, he's spun. All kinds of action in all 3 classes here in the first lap. We'll get replays of the starts as we check back in a little wide there as we come down to Paul Frere for the first time. Matheson in the lead. He's side by side again with Posland. Fantastic stuff going on up and down the field. That is Andreas Schwartz. Oliver Schlabs has also been off. Fowler making a move up. He's up to 4th place now in the 28. As you just saw on the timing sheets, him going by, that's Max Riebensteiner with Kevin Hensel. And there you see Oliver Schlabs making his way into the pits. Andreas Schwarz is also there. What's happened back in the field? This is a LMP. That's Jen McDonald on the inside of Pouin. And Schlabs has gone around, and a big hit on the rear of that car. So that explains that as we get ourselves settled back in at the front. Marcel Struff has taken the lead in GT3 Am. We see that on the timing screens. And as he heads up through Radillon, we have a new leader in GT3 Am. Up front in LMP, the 3 are around, and that is Hayden Fowler! Championship contender Hayden Fowler has spun. And as we look on the timing screens, Sakalas has also dropped down the field. This is coming down into Lake Coombe. It is Sakalis on the inside. Plenty of room. Oh, he's jumped off the curb, and they've hit side to side. Massive championship implications here. As Sakalis gets away, it is Fowler who has to recover back. There is Zirinel coming up through the field. So James Poslan now in the 91 car, sitting in second place, has a huge advantage here in the GTE Pro Championship. Could we have just seen the title decided at Lake Coombe on lap number 2? Sakalis has dropped to 7th place. Hayden Fowler to the back of the field in 10th. Shilakis, who we saw off circuit earlier in that first lap Lake Coombe incident, is in the pits, so he is in 11th, but Hayden Fowler right at the back now. He has not lost touch with the pack, but he's got some work to do now. Further up front, that's Peters Berry, as Volmers has taken second place in LMP, down at the end of Kemmel, and the 32 car up to second. Jan in his first race in the Night Racing League, and from all indications, it looks like he's going to be Dennis Rodder's teammate next season. We won't have official confirmation from that until tomorrow, when registration opens. Let's have a look at the starts. First with the LMP class. It was a great rundown. And the leader in LMP had the option to go on the left-hand side. You can see they did not switch sides. Brommel wanted to have the right side of the circuit. And everyone away clean. And a beautiful rundown by Dennis Rodder. Volmer's nowhere to go, just sits in the back, and Rodder actually had his nose ahead, but it's Brommel with the inside to the entry of Lake Coombe and retakes that. Side by side, that is Schwarz and Rainey on a little, I thought we were going to see what happened to Schwarz there, but a little bit of a wiggle. And it's in No Name, a little clip of the curbing, and he's hit the tire barrier fairly hard as well. So that explains that. Then we saw down into Pouan when McDonald caught the back of Oliver Schlabs, and that explains the two cars in pit road. As down into Lake Coombe, Volmers on the outside has taken the lead in LMP over Thomas Brommel. The 32 in his debut race in the Night Racing League is up front. As the front end of the LMP field, ooh, and a nice little power slide there. The LMP field looking very strong for Season 4. We've got new drivers coming in and teams being formed. It'll be very interesting to see what happens in the following weeks. It is 4 weeks to the season opener on the 8th of January. 3 weeks from Tuesday will be the first practice session. As the GTEs continue to battle in the middle, that's Kevin Hensel in the Night Racing car, and he's ahead of the 14 of Max Riebensteiner. And Riebensteiner on the inside. Got to look at the GTE start now. The important class to watch here, and there is Posland. Pole sitter on the right, so they have the inside of the just he doesn't want to have anything to do with a first lap incident, although he does get the inside, doesn't he? But a great run down the hill. they head up to Radillon. Really good stuff. And we know there was a little bit of contact as we head down to Lake Combe, so we'll hold on this replay. It's 4 wide, 3 wide in the back, and a little bit of a protection there on the inside by the BMW. That's Aiden Campbell. Riebensteiner goes around. He's collected by first by Zerno, then Shalekas. It looked like netcode, actually. That's what the stewards are saying. It was netcode between the 23 and the 14. And that's what happened at the start there. And then we saw, of course, a lap later, the 2 championship contenders getting together. Sakalas and Fowler. Sakalas now up to 5th. Fowler to 9th as they try to come back through. Andreas Schwarz has rejoined the race in the 204. There he is, and making his way back through. Does not look like he's lost a lap. Sakalas on the outside of Piers Berry. And a beautiful pass through Lake Combe. That seems to be where everybody's getting it done with that huge toe. So the 717 now up to 4th place. He's got work to do, but it's not insurmountable. 10 seconds up the road is James Posland. It's a 2-hour race. Strategies will play into it. And we'll see. Jan Spammers has taken the lead in GT3 AM as we check back in there. Again at our favorite passing place, Piers Berry is off track. What has happened to the 41 car? Ooh. And down into Pouan. Doesn't look like Riebensteiner, another big tail end hit. And that one might get looked at by the stewards as Riebensteiner very, very close in as they entered Pouan and directly from behind, which always gets a look. Jen McDonald and Eric Fox having a ding-dong here for 4th place, and McDonald currently ahead in 4th in the 99 car. She has had her incident looked at by the stewards, and that is an avoidable contact penalty. Further action to come, as with this being the last race, the stewards have discretion on penalties, whether to hand out simple warnings or whether a time penalty can be added. So we will watch that. But Jen McDonald in front of the stewards for that hit, and a very quick response for Max Riebensteiner. He will get an avoidable contact warning for his penalty. So that one is done, no further action. The 99 car is pending. There is Riebensteiner. Fowler making a pass up to 7, as we see on the timing screen. He's also making his way up through the field. Back in the plain white wrapper, Lincoln Russell. As Andreas Schwarz making his way through the GT3 class. It was a fairly hefty hit taken by the back of that car, but he's got it fixed relatively quickly. Same cannot be said for Shalekas and Oliver Schlabs. They've both been in the pits now for more than 9 minutes. So heavier damage. Of course, Schlabs made his way up into the air after that hit. It was a very hard hit at Pouan. He should enter that corner very quickly with just a light downshift into 4th in the LMP cars. So a big hit. We didn't get a chance to see the GT3 start, as they got the green flag as they were coming through. They were encouraging the drivers meeting to go single file. It looks like they did for the most part. And the pole sitter getting away in front. battle for third there. That's Rodriguez. No, that's Spammers, sorry. Rodriguez in fifth. Spammers on the inside of the 222 of Rowan Kelly there. And a pretty good start. We saw what happened to Wally live as he got a great run down the straight, down the Kemmel Straight, and took the lead from the pole sitter, but then he's in heavy there, no problem on that, but as he comes off the curb, cool tires, and you can see the back end just swapped around, didn't hit anything. That has dropped the champion all the way down, currently running in 9th place in class. As we check back in at the front, and the LMP's just now coming around to the back end indicator in the pits in the 199 car, so that's a very early stop. Something has happened there. But we'll start to see the multi-class of this series come into play now as Jan Volmers makes his way to the back of the GT3 AM class. And Dennis Rotter very tight on the back of Thomas Brommel. If there were no T-Motors before, they're running different liveries now, so you know they're going to be going at it hammer and tongs. As they're coming through a very, very tight GT3 AM class here today. We've had a little bit of sketchy attendance as the season's worn on, but everybody's here today, and some very tight points battles, as we were mentioning earlier. Spammers there in the lead now in the 999 with a 3-point lead over Enos Bothma, who's currently in 6th place in the 395, and a 9-point lead over Marcel Struth, who sits behind him in 2nd place. Jen McDonald and Eric Fox now the next of the LMPs to come through this GT3 battle. Just checking a stat there. We watch Rob Rodriguez Jr. as he looks like he's got his plate full with Lincoln Russell now. So many long straights and great toes down this circuit. We're seeing a lot of passing early. And just in behind there, that is Enos Bothma right on the back end. So that's a 3-car battle now. Paul Seeley now in 6th place after starting in 9th. He has kept his head while all around him were failing, and has caught 3 positions here with Schwarz now a minute 48 off the race lead in LMP. Keith Rainey has had technical issues and is off track, and yeah, we're hearing it's a connection issue. And that's very unfortunate, as he was having a really good battle in there. That whole sort of midfield has been spread apart now. Seeley, the only one without issues, has moved up to 6th. Rainey is off. Schlabs, of course, is getting repairs done, and we're not sure how long that's going to take. He's been in the pits for over 12 minutes now. We're watching this championship battle in GT3 AM, as Lincoln Russell has got past Rodriguez Jr. And in behind that is Enos Bothma. All these positions having championship implications. Jan Spammers leads the class in the 999 and now has a 2-second lead over the pole sitter, Marcel Struth. A very busy and quick 20 minutes here at Spa. We heard of the drivers meeting. The GT cars, it's a pretty straight up race. Oh, Spammers! Spammers is off track, the race leader, and he's got damage. Damage on the left front, and he's towed to the pits. So So huge disappointments there for Jan Spammers. Piers Berry in GTE Pro has also gone to the pits. And that must have been some severe damage to have to call for a tow, because that's never the quickest way to get through. Watching there, Alex Jensen, who's been in the league all season, but for various reasons has not actually made it onto the grid. So welcome Alex to his first race in the Night Racing League. We know he's in the same sort of stable that Eric Fox came from. There's a bunch of drivers. Piers Berry is one of those as well. So hopefully we're going to see a lot more of Alex here as he's running that 911 GT3. We'll see if he can get himself teamed up for Season 4. Having a good run there. He's currently in 7th, but having a look there, that is the champion of Jacob Wally. Nice little toe, and he will take that position. Nicholas Scott next on the list in what is now a blue Ferrari 488 Evo. That was the big news, of course. Night Racing Esports expanding their GT3 development program with the GTE cars now going obsolete, and Nicholas Scott said, "I'll take me some of that," and he's entered sort of through the back door. He's in the league first. Usually the development drivers graduate into the league, but Nicholas was already here and has joined the Night Racing Esports team. So welcome, Nicholas. He's put a blue livery on there to commemorate the occasion. Up front, Jan Volmers has pulled himself a little gap here. There's a couple of ways you can play this in LMP. We heard in the interviews in GTE that fuel's not an issue. It's a straight up two-stop. You do have to manage your tires, but with a nighttime start, and let's face it, with the race finishing sim time no later than 9:45, I think it's going to be, we're not really going to have very high track temperatures to worry about. But you do have to manage your tires and your incident limits. But LMPs with a 2-hour race, you do have fuel option strategies. And it could be 2 in a splash, it could be a fuel save 2. We'll see what these guys do. It's always interesting in LMP. Brommel and Rotter still close by. There they are. As the LMP field now moving through the GTE Pros. As we're used to seeing, Brommel and Rotter nose to tail. The order always changes, but they always seem to be right together on track. I have to say, I'm not only surprised by these liveries as they sit at the moment, but secretly deep down I'm very, very excited because it means no matter who Thomas Brommel teams up with next season, we're going to have 2, 3 very, very strong LMP teams up front, and of course with the team that means 6 drivers. So in a class that's already very, very tight in the midfield, it'll be something to have a very strong front end. It's been a 2-car race this year. That's Jen McDonald, who was off at the bus stop, and that has lost the position to Eric Fox. He moves up to 4th place. The 99 car now drops to 5th. And that gap to Seeley in 6th place, only 10 seconds now. Rightfully so, the automatic cameras on iRacing keep jumping us back to this battle in the middle of the GT3 field. Ines Bothma in third place in the championship coming into today. Only 3 points behind Jan Spammers, who has now had a crash. He's actually back on circuit. But the pit stop was 4 minutes and 23 seconds. Remember, he had a tow as well. So Spammers has dropped to 10th in GT3. And that puts Bothma in 5th place. Marcel Struff in the 97, back in front. He has retaken, well, he was given the lead when that crash happened, of course. He was running in 2nd place. So your top 3 now in GT3 AM, Struff, Rowan Kelly in the gold Lamborghini, number 222, and then Lincoln Russell, the plain white wrapper. Now that's your podium with 25 minutes down here. And Nicholas Scott with a nice little tow on Bothma. Doesn't get his nose in there all the way. Bothma will keep that position, as we now have 4 cars hooked up here in and I say the middle. This is 4th, 5th, and 6th, and 7th. $38 points for first, 27 for second, 23 for third. So the championship can definitely be, you can make up points is what I'm trying to spit out here. You see that Andreas Schwarz has made his way through. There he is. He's made his way through now the leaders of GTE Pro. And has himself in touch with the rest of the field. A little bit of a wiggle there out of Paul Frere, and Nicholas Scott coming under pressure now from the 2 behind. Jacob Wally's got himself a work day today. He's had a couple of races all by himself when he's gapped the field, but today he's got to come through. Dropped all the way to 10th place, has regained 3 of those, but he's in a proper battle here right now with Nicholas Scott. Enos Bothma has pulled away just a second with that little bit of a wiggle. There's Jen McDonald. Didn't hit anything when she went off at the bus stop, but she has dropped 7 seconds, 8 seconds behind Eric Fox now. And runs in 5th place. That's your GTE lead. We haven't had a shot of those as Brommel and Rotter come through. I wonder how racy the 91's going to be. He knows what's happened to his title contenders. Sakalis is 4th. It's only 2 positions back. But he's got the job done. I'm just pulling up the points table here. I want to have it in front of me so I can do some real-time maths if I have to. Oh, wide again goes Nicholas through, no name. And that is going to give Jacob Wally that position. The 827 will move up into 6th place. The tires are seated in. We've got a half hour of running on them now, so it's going to be about managing your race. 38 points for a win, 27-23, then 18 for 4th place. So that is currently Rodriguez Jr. Bothma in 5th is on 15 points. So Struff now with the lead at 38. And that could be a very, very good day. If he can hold that, it'll be 135 points. And Marcel Struff could have himself a race win as Nicholas, or not only a race win, but 2.2 positions in the championship. Nicholas Scott off there at Blanchimont. And if you're going to drive behind somebody, Nicholas, the newcomer this year, you're going to drive behind somebody and maybe learn some lines and learn some corner speeds and things. as the 99.9 is off again. That Spammer's trying to recover from that earlier off. I was going to say here, you couldn't drive behind anybody better than Jacob Wally. He will show you the way around, no problem. Starts to pull a little bit of a gap. We'll see if that toe can tighten these three back up. Alex Jensen coming along for the ride as we head down to Kemmel. Eric Fox has split the GTE leaders, and that points battle again, as we're saying. James Posey now in second place on 28 points, 27 points. He doesn't need to do anything else. And he and Matchison 8 seconds ahead of our third place car. That'd be the 23 of Aiden Campbell. So he may be just happy to sit there. We'll see what the 91 does. We of course have 2 pit stops coming, a minimum of 2. And we'll see how this plays out. Lincoln Russell in the 29 car, as we go further down the GT3 AM points, is tied with Steve Groninga in the 59. They both are on 87 points, so Russell in third, having himself a good day. Steve Groninga in 9th place currently in the yellow Ferrari. There is Steve right there as it happens. As the GTE Pro class has made its way around to the back of the GT3 AMs. Using all the track and a little bit of toe, and they'll come through. This is not helping the 99. Jen McDonald shoots the gap and gets rid of that problem. Posland saying, I'm coming through. This is a battle for the lead. Groninga will hold right there, and yes, that pass is done, and before they head into the bus stop. Well done. Rotter and Grommel still together, and a nice little toe here. Volmer's now 7.5 seconds up the road as these two are playing together, have lost a little bit of pace. And you see the king of fuel savers, Dennis Rotter, backs off. We believe it's possible to make this race on 2 stops, but you cannot be wasting fuel. It is a full 2-hour job to save enough fuel and at the right times to make this a 2-stop race in the LMPs. So we'll see how this all works out. If anybody can do it, we know it's the driver of the 011. Ivan Zirano back in the pits. Well, it's for the first time actually. He was involved in that lap 1 incident. Zirano in the pits, and that's early for the 77 car, and it's a long stop as well. Oh, I say that, I was looking at pit road time. We're of course on the endurance pits here today, so that's another huge incentive. We're talking about the LMPs trying to make it on 2 stops. Just driving down pit road with this track configuration is a 1-minute penalty. So you might lose a lot of time saving fuel as aggressively as you can, but you know, to save a minute, that's a lot of track time. So we'll see who does that. Zirano just now got to his pits. have a look. And he's been in there long enough to take tires, but the car is not on the jack, so that's probably some damage repair being done as well. We know it's a two-stop, and what we heard from James Posland in his pre-race interview. We talked to him on Thursday. It's 2 45-minute stints and then a half hour to bring it home. So Ivan has gone by the half-hour mark. So he can clearly stay on the two-stop strategy and make it to the end of the race. So he's probably, that's why he stayed out so long. We've seen that earlier from drivers. You don't want to take the extra pit stop for some damage, so if you can live with it and bring it around, you can get that damage fixed on a regular pit stop, take the penalty, but at least you're not making an extra trip down pit road, especially here today where it's such a penalty to come down pit road more often than you need to. Rotter continues to hound the back of Thomas Brommel. We are approaching the 35-minute mark of the race. If LMPs are going to go 2 stops only, they're going to have to make it to the 40-minute mark. So we'll see who comes in the next 5 minutes. It will give us an early indication of whether or not we're going to see 3 stops from anybody. Rowan Kelly, Lincoln Russell, and Rob Rodriguez Jr., your 3-car battle for second place, and just there, up the road, is Marcel Struth. The GT3 AMs, very, very tight. This is what we were getting used to at the beginning of the season at Daytona, and we got deprived of it a little bit as the GTEs took over, but we're having a really good run here as everybody gets ready for what will be a GT3 season in Season 4. Pro and AM. There'll be 7 GT3 cars available for everybody, and of course the team championship, so it's going to be very exciting to see how that all plays out. We'll get the Season 4 schedule up for you at the end of the broadcast. It's Eric Fox back into 3rd place. Or sorry, back into 4th place when McDonald had her little off there. Riebensteiner to the pits from 7th in GTE Pro. And the stewards have finally come down with their decision on the 99. Jen had an earlier penalty at Interlagos, I believe it was, and it's going to be a 10-second penalty for the 99. There she is. So you can add that to her race time, and what does that do? You can see Paul Seeley exactly 10.5 seconds back, so that could have implications on the race results. We will watch how this plays out for the remaining 1 hour and 23 minutes. But a 10-second time penalty added to the race time for car number 99, incident responsibility. As Fox is the first car on pit road. And with an hour and 23 minutes left, this smells like a 3-stopper to me. Seeley goes by. Schwarz, we know, has already been in the pits with damage, so that's not really going to apply. So all the other 5 cars that Eric is racing against have made it around again. They will do at least 19 laps. Eric Fox may be the only car in LMP2 that he'll have to do 3 stops, a splash and go at the end of this race. We'll watch that closely. Rowan Kelly having himself a great run. What a year for the 222, and a fantastic sense of humor after he got taken out twice. And put the wrapping paper and the warning fragile signs on his car for a couple of races. We thought that was very hilarious. But he was running up front in some both Daytona and Road Atlanta and had himself spun. He had a second place in Sebring, and then unfortunately we missed Rowan in the next 2 races, so he's really not in contention for the championship. Came 6th at Le Mans, but running where we expected him to run for most of the year here today, up in second place at the head of this battle. Volmers has made it to pit road. We expect the other LMPs. Rotter is going around for a 20th lap. Brommel is in the pits as well. And we'll see if McDonald and Seeley come in. Yes, the 99 also comes onto pit road. And 10 seconds back will be the Canadian. And he also comes in. So Dennis Rotter, the only car to do 20 laps. Fuel strategies, as they come out, it'll be less than 1 hour and 20 minutes. So possibly these cars can all make it on 2 stops. Dennis Rotter for sure is going to be able to make it on 2 stops. Rowan Kelly is on pace to... This will jump him up actually in the points as we look at him there. Let's look at Russell in behind. Steve McLean and Forrest Ellico are not here. Again, a shout out to Forrest. We hope everything's going well with you, buddy, and your father and your brother. But it is a 5-point gap, so Rowan only needs 6 points to move up a couple of spots in the championship. And that is certainly going to happen here today. So that means that'll be 7th place if Rowan could just hold it together. So pretty good for a guy who's essentially missed half the season. Not quite, but near as damn it, right? Rotter finally into the pits, and Eric Fox and Jen McDonald jumping up and down there in the standings. I just wanted to see, that's on the pit exit. We know Eric pitted earlier, and he has retaken that position back to 4th where he belongs. Volmers and Brommel now 8 seconds back on track. So we'll see where that gap has gone when Rotter comes out of the pits. He's still trundling down pit road at 80 kilometers an hour. No, it's 60 kilometers an hour today, isn't it? A pit road speed. And well over a kilometer from pit entry to pit exit at 60 kilometers an hour. And into the pits, Lincoln Russell. We saw a change of position there by Rodriguez Jr. Russell has peeled off and will be the second GT3 car as Enos Bothma is also in pit road. Andreas Schwarz has overtaken Seeley as they are... Seeley has just made it out of pit road. So it's all happening here. We'll see the pit stop cycle through. Your leader right there as Rotter's still in the pits. Your leader is Jan Volmers. That is Seeley and Schwarz as Andreas has pulled off into pit road, so Seeley will regain his 6th position. Sakalis, Campbell, and Fowler all on pit road after lap 19. Matchison, Posland, and Kevin Hensel have gone around. And there is James Posland looking to turn this into a championship. The first stint has gone, you have to admit, better than he would have expected or hoped. The competition has been so close. Andreas Sakalas on lap 2 on the right-hand entry to Lake Coombe, bounced off the curbing with Fowler beside him. The two cars hit side to side. It was Fowler who took the worst of it. Unfortunately, his car went around. At least Sakalas was able to recover. He got a gaggle coming out of pit road. That's Alex Jensen in the GT3 AMs and a couple of GTEs behind him. And Campbell very eager to get by there as he's got the 717 of Sakalas right behind him. As the race leader's in now for GTE Pro, and we'll likely see Hensel as well. The battle for 4th place, and every single position is important to Andreas Sakalas. He's got to get in front of James Posland. Service is done. He's out on track. Everybody has taken, I just want to confirm here, 27.2. So it looks like a full fuel. Pretty close. 26 seconds for Fowler, 26.3 for Campbell. Pit road times very similar. A second longer for Sakalas. 1 minute 28 seconds his total pit road time. The LMPs have cycled through, and you can see the gap. Rotter has gained second place over Brommel on the pit stops. Identical pit road times, but with the extra lap on light fuel, he's been able to leapfrog the 4. And Dennis Rotter now in second place, 6 seconds behind Volmers. Coming out of pit road, there is Matchison. He will retain the lead. He's got Posland right behind him. Fuel only for both cars. Again, it's just a train of cars coming out. And they'll join the track just behind the GT3 AM leader, Marcel Struff. The GT3s have all pitted. And now the entire field has pitted. Fowler. Oh, and off goes Struff. No harm, no foul. That's going to allow Matchison through. And he stays wide and will let the second place car come as well. So status quo at the front of the GTE field. Struff leads GT3. Kelly still in second place. Rodriguez Jr. third. Bothma fourth. Jacob Wally is now up to 5th place after the pit stops. Lincoln Russell is the one who's really lost out. He's down in 7th. Let me check the pit times. 58 seconds stopped, so tires on the 29 car. There he is there. We didn't see any incidents or damage, so I'm going to guess that Lincoln Russell has taken tires. And Sakalas there in the 717 is past the 23 car, so that's an important position up onto the podium for the championship leader. Small victories, he's still got work to do. He needs to finish in front. It's a 2-point lead, but it's more than 2 points between all of the positions in the points, so he has to finish. They may as well be tied. The gap is 14.5 seconds. Hayden Fowler, 6 points off the championship lead. Once again, they may as well be tied because a win is 8 points from first to second. Fowler in 5th place after the pit stop cycle. He is 24 seconds off the race lead. And Sakalis looking like he's got a little bit of a gap now. Certainly Campbell not close enough to use that toe to make a passing attempt. So it looks like the 717 can set off and see if he can do anything about that gap. There is the 999 of Jan Spammers, who led this race early, but had an off. We believe that was at Lefania where he went off, and he had to actually tow his car back. You see the damage on the left front fender, and that has taken him out of contention today in the GT3 AM class. Still very tight at the front of that class. 3 seconds separate the leaders. And it's been very tight here in GTE Pro, Matchison and Poseland. And they have gapped the field. It is now Sakalis in third, and he needs to work his way up. Still another pit stop to go, and still 70 minutes of racing. That gap in LMP is not growing, still 6 seconds. And also with Brommel, he's still 8 seconds. That was the gap when they came out of the pits after the first stop. And it has not grown at all. So see what happens up there. We believe everyone in the LMP field is on a 2-stop strategy except for the 33 car. And we'll have to wait and see when the second pit stop happens. We'll get a really good idea. You've got to be safe inside that 40-minute to go mark if you're going to go, because you've got a possible extra lap at the end as well. Rodriguez continues to hound close enough that that Kelly feels the need to cover the inside. Sakalis will have to tiptoe his way through. The long Kemmel straight is past. He's going to have to do it through the twisty bits. We'll start here as we come down through through Rivage, sorry. Campbell makes his way through, and that's really going to split that battle up. We'll see if the favor is returned as they come by Kelly. Rodriguez will try and keep himself as close as he can to get whatever advantage of the toe. Here he comes now. That's going to compromise Kelly a little bit as he comes into Lefanu. But that gap has clearly been opened up a little bit as that GT3 battle comes through. Sakalis will have the race leader next. And for Marcel Struff, that could not have worked out better, because now, as he comes up the hill to the bus stop, Sakalis is going to sit in behind, so they're not really going to lose him a lot of time. And that gap, what he said, was 3 seconds back to Rodriguez, now a little over 5. Sakalis will get himself down the inside at La Source, and Campbell's going to go too. So that entire exchange really does help the 78 car. Really stretches his lead a little bit. 3 seconds now back to Rowan Kelly, who was also afforded a little bit of a breather back to Rodriguez. Bothma in 4th place now, Wally 5th, Alex Jensen 6th, and with a tire change, Lincoln Russell down into 7th place. That's the 28 of Hayden Fowler, trying to make the best of the day. currently in 5th place. The next car up the road is Campbell right here in the 23 car. The gap is not huge, but it's big enough. 9 seconds back to the 28. And it's 26 seconds up to the position he needs. Nicholas Scott in the pits for his second stop. And that's a bit early for the 9 car. We'll see what happens there. Thomas Brommel has got himself back in touch with Dennis Rodder, so that gap has also come down to the leader. It's now 5 seconds up to Jan Volmers. As they're now coming through this battle for 3rd place in GTE Pro. Rodder is through. Brommel will have to wait for Radial as they crisscross over the top of the hill. But that's bad timing for the German, and he will drop about 3/4 of a second back. We'll see if he can gain that back up. He's still within the toe. But it might take a couple of laps to get back up there. What have they got next? Nobody in between them now and the leader with the GTE Pro leaders in front. They're the next 2 cars to pass. Eric Fox having to wait through Lake Combe, and that will give Jennifer McDonald the ability to gain up. There she is there. That gap was a little over 2. It's now down to 1 second. Fox is through. McDonald on the exit of No Name will be able to hopefully get by at least 1. Yeah, she'll get by Wally there. Have to wait for Pouan to get by Zerano. Points we're watching in LMP. Jen McDonald, of course, has a 4-point lead over Thomas Brommel. Brommel running in 3rd place, McDonald in 5th. So 15 points for McDonald, 23 for Brommel. That would be enough. That would put him on 133. 15 points will put McDonald on 129, so she's got to get in front of Eric Fox. The 4th place would give her 18 points. And that's 132, so even that's not going to do it. So as they sit, McDonald needs to get in front of Brommel. Sitting on 133 points if he finishes in 3rd place. That would be enough to move up to 2nd place in the championship. That's the LMP. Keith Rainey, with his technical issues, is not going to have a chance to pass Paul Seeley, who is running in 6th. That's the battle for 6th place. Eric Fox is 7 points ahead of Seeley. So he's looking good there. Seeley doesn't look to have the pace. So Fox looks like he's going to at least keep his 5th place position in LMP. Those are the points battles in that class. There is James Posland. And the GTE points battle that we were all over about, that was the big thing, the championship. James has had a perfect day. He sits in second right behind Thomas Brommel having a look. He sits right behind Jori Mattisson. And that's all he needs to do. He would take the championship if he finishes right where he is. Andreas Sakalas, right there in the 717, is in third place. He's got a nice battle going on with Aiden Campbell, who wants to be on the podium. He would like to be having a battle with this car right here, but it's not happening. Hayden Fowler, even worse off in fifth, so as we sit, James Posland, with 1 hour left in the season, would be the GTE Pro Champion, but 1 hour is a lot of racing. Thomas Brommel again has a little look, but decides to pull it back. These two with traffic, we saw them just come through the GTE leaders, are now 6.5 seconds back of Volmers. All these points battles, Jan Spammers came into GT3AM today with the second place points. He's had an off. You can see the damage on that left front fender. And Jan currently running in 10th place. And he's a minute behind Nicholas Scott in 9th place, who's also had some issues. But that points battle, Enos Bothma in third. He's only 3 points back. Enos running in fourth currently, so that puts Enos on 18 points. Would give him a total of 121. Marcel Struff leading would have 135 points. So Marcel could move up and take that second place. If he can hold the win, that's where the points championship sits right now. Bothma would be third. Jan Spammers would drop down. Lincoln Russell is tied with Steve Groningen. We know he stopped to take tires, and that has put him 7th, Groningen 8th. And while not close on the track, at least they're one position apart. If anything were to happen to that 29 again, that points battle for 5th place is hanging in the balance. So that kind of keeps you up to date on what's happening in the points here. We're back with the GTE Pro leaders. The gap, 17 seconds back to the 717 of Andreas Sakalas. We saw the chrome liveried Red Bull Porsche in practice most of the week, but James has switched back to his racing red. And it's doing him well here today. Again, he's been hounding the back of Jori Mattisson all day long, but with the way the points are and the way everything sits right now, he does not need to risk anything. Same is true for Thomas Brommel in third place. He sits on the tail end of Dennis Rotter. I don't get the same impression from Thomas. It seems to me if there's a hole there, he has a chance. He's probably thought through the last hour of this race and knows exactly where he's going to send it on Dennis. I'm not too sure he's thinking about the points, but he is sitting where he needs to finish in second place in the LMP2 class. I'd be remiss if I didn't thank everybody who makes this championship as good as it is. All of the drivers, the the Night Racing League currently with 54 active members, and we have averaged over 30 cars in every race this season. And that's only going to get better every season. The group of drivers we have in this series grows. The retention rate is pretty good, and it's been an incredible season. As you can see, we have points battles all the way through the classes, up and down the field, and Season 4 is only going to get better. We'll take a little minute to talk about it here. For the first time, we're going to have a team championship. Well, first of all, the classes. It'll be LMP2, of course. Endurance racing is multi-class, and we're very, very proud to have the most realistic multi-class racing. The only place I've ever been on iRacing where the LMPs and the GT cars actually can race together. The driving standards are that high here, and that is on all of these drivers who are exceptional. We'll have the LMP2 class, and then GT Pro and GT AM. And they are all GT3 cars, but we will have a Pro and an AM class. The drivers in this series are ranked on performance. They are assigned racing licenses for the Night Racing League. And there are 3 letters that you can have on your license. There's, of course, a super license, which you have to have to race in the LMP class, which is why these 2 classes can race in harmony. And then there's Pro and Am, and it's basically based on race finishes and lap times. Am drivers can race in the Pro class if they wish, and that helps in the team championship if we want to have an Am driver and a Pro driver paired together. P-licensed drivers, such as James Posland right here, if he chooses to race in GT3, can race in the Pro class. James also has a super license, so he could race LMP. It's all in the air, and we will find out this week. In the next couple of weeks, registration is open. The drivers will find their teammates, they will register their cars, and we will get a grid together for Season 4, which starts on 8th of January at the Barcelona Historic Grand Prix Circuit. 6-race championship in Season 4. 5 of the races will be 2-hour endurance races. And there will be a 90-minute race at Mid-Ohio, which I believe is round 5 of 6. So Season 4 starts in 4 weeks. And we want to thank everybody who helped make Season 3 what it was. Our administrators, Keith Rainey, Jen McDonald, Andrea Schwartz. You listen to me babble on day after day with formats and ideas and how to make the league better. We, of course, have our stewards, Eric Fox, one of the stewards, Jen McDonald, Keith Rainey. And all of you who watch here on YouTube, we've got another great season coming for you next year. And if you're an endurance driver in iRacing who races in special events, well, that's what this series is for. Everybody here does too. And we race on the tracks a week before the special events so everybody can get their setups done, race strategies planned, get comfortable, and be ready for the special events. So if you have a racing team out there and you want to be part of this, PM me on iRacing. We'll get your team on the grid for Season 4. Steve Gronaga in the bus stop, having the GTE Pro battle come through as Yori Matchison completes lap number 30. Thomas Brommel and Dennis Rotter continue to run 2-3. As they come by Lincoln Russell. We're about 12 minutes away from confirming the LMP2 strategies. They're going to have to make it to 40. And I would think to be safe, they should probably make it to 39 and 38 and a half minutes to make this comfortably on a two-stopper. Dennis Rotter, who did 20 laps on his first stint, the only driver we believe who can make it for sure on two stops. We'll wait and see how the other drivers do. It's a shot of Andreas Sakalis there, and I did not see Campbell in behind him, but it's a 2-second gap. It's just a camera angle. Aiden is still right there. Rob Rodriguez Jr. and Enos Bachmann still battling for the final podium spot in GT3 AM. We caught a glimpse of them there as this battle for second came through. There they are. Bothma having a look. Only 3 points behind Jan Spammers coming into this. He's looking at second place in the championship. The only fly in that ointment is that 6 points behind him coming in. Oh, as a little bit, Thomas Brommel there getting a little bit of a tap, as I'm not sure Rodriguez thought he was going to go by there. Don't see any damage, but that was a close one. Rodriguez not really losing any space on track. Jacob Wally has now reeled in this battle, so we've got a three-way fight for the final podium spot in GT3 AM. Oh, a power slide. We've already seen the back end of that BMW go around. And Jacob momentarily loses touch with the sister car up front. Very wide at Blanchimont. Got quite a few cars in the pits, and I believe some retirements. Oliver Schlabs in the 473, we saw him go off on lap 2. Sorry, that was lap 1, wasn't it, at Pouan. Oliver Schlabs has retired that car. As a pass for position, Enos Bothma goes down the inside and takes third place from Rodriguez Jr. He's got to catch and pass Marcel Struve, however, as once again, as the situation is in GTE Pro with the gaps between the points, as Jacob Wally also coming down. And just like that, in the course of half a lap, Rodriguez goes from third to fifth. The good news is he'll now have the tow. I wonder if there was any damage from that bump with Brommel. We'll find out if he can hold the tow here. I mean, he's clearly on pace with all of these cars here. But being out front, he's given the tow. Now that he's in behind, he should stay in touch unless there is some aero damage. And you can see he's dropping back. He was running too long and too solidly in that position to all of a sudden just be dropping off the pace. He's got to let an LMP go through there. That is that Schwarz that went by there? So I think there's probably some damage on the left side of that Ferrari. Left side, right side. It would have been the right side. And as I look, there is a crinkle on that fender on the right front and probably the left rear, or the right rear as well. So that's a shame. Check out what the gap is back to Jensen. He's got a 9-second advantage on the 45 Porsche. So we will keep track. There's definitely body damage on that right front corner, so that could be hindering the 39 car. Meanwhile, in LMP, Jen McDonald has caught Eric Fox. So, remember, the 99 car carrying a 10-second time penalty, that has pretty much been eradicated. When that happened, and with the little incident in the bus stop, she was just 10 seconds ahead of the 72 car, but that gap has ballooned, and she actually has, even with a 10-second penalty, is 21 seconds ahead of the 72. There is Seeley there. This now the battle for the final podium spot in GT3 AM. Jacob Wally, after a first lap miscue, has got himself all the way up to 4th place and is challenging Enos Bothman, the 395, for that final podium spot. Jacob, with a pro license, will be, I would imagine, in GT3 Pro next season. He's got a large stable of drivers that he's here with, so it'll be interesting to see who everybody teams up with. It's going to be the highlight of my week, waiting for the registrations to come in. I'm very excited about it. Of course, it's 3 weeks until the first practice. There's no rush, so we'll see who's. One of the LMPs, I was just pulling over to let that battle by. There's 3 weeks to get registered, so we're not going to know the entire grid tomorrow. But they can start sending them in tomorrow. What class they're driving, what car they're driving, who their teammate is, team names. When the Season 4 starts to come together, it's going to be very, very interesting, as is this fight that has developed. Fox on the Discord was actually openly auditioning for a teammate, so that's interesting because we know he also comes from a large stable of drivers who joined here, but all of his cohorts in the Night Racing League are racing in GT. He was the only one that came over into the LMP2 class. So it'll be interesting to see who he decides to pair up with. We know Clayton Barklow was looking for a teammate as well this week. A couple of very quick drivers. But the only indication we have at the moment, as Eric Fox is tied up behind the second place car of Rowan Kelly, Donald can't get any closer, so it's just where they're going to get by. I think they'll both be by before Pual. So that doesn't come in. Jen's entry line maybe just a little bit compromised. But as I was saying, the only indication we have at the moment as far as teammates, and this is strictly rumor, of course, but I don't see why this very large smoke wouldn't have fire behind it, is the Element Sim Racing teammates, Dennis Rotter and Jan Volmers, both showing up here at Spa with the same livery. And I think that's a pretty strong indication that those two will be in LMP2 next year, and boy, does that make the front of the grid stout as they run 1-2 here. That gap has opened right up, you can see, between Brommel. McDonald is by. Into the pits, that's right. Eric Fox stopped 1 lap earlier than the majority of the field. Rotter went 2 laps further, but Eric Fox now in the pits for the 2 minutes. So I think this has to confirm that the 33 car is going to be doing a splash and go at the end. The 99, Jen McDonald's now up to 4th place. We'll see where that cycles through, as she should get 2 more laps. She went a lap further on the first stint, and if she goes a lap further on this one, that would be 2 laps before she pits, and that is clearly a 2-stop strategy. You've got to get by the 40-minute mark. So we'll see what happens. Seeley going around again. He pitted on the same lap as Volmers, Brommel, McDonald. And we have a battle. That is Alex Jensen now having a look. He's caught up to the back of Lincoln Russell. You know what? I'm going to say it's the other way around because Russell was ahead of Groninga. I think Russell has made a pass there. I missed that on the timing screens when it happened, but Lincoln now up to 6th place, ahead of the 45 car, who is right there with him. This is the other GT3 AM battle. And you can see that gap has really opened up now to Rodriguez. He's now 6 seconds ahead of Russell and Jensen. Brommel hits pit road. We expect the other ones behind him to do the same. McDonald is on pit road, and I imagine Seeley. So they've gone the same number of laps as Fox did. But they are crucially past the 40-minute mark to go. And Brommel's in his pit box. McDonald is not yet. Seeley will be even later. But they're definitely all going to be able to make this on 2 stops. There's Dennis Rotter, who we imagine is going to go another lap. A little late for the championship leaders liking there, but no harm, no foul. Colesland and Matchison maybe getting a little racy here. They're both pushing. You know how those Porsches, we talked about that also with these drivers before the race started. It's not a fuel race for the GT cars today, but a 2-hour race. It can definitely be a tire race. And the Porsches get a little dancier in the tail end than the Corvettes. Maybe we're starting to see a little bit of that with 40 minutes left in the season. Jacob Wally is by Bothma. He's made that pass, exiting Lecumbe and into the entrance of Ravage. So the 827 champion in GT3 AM is back onto the podium. It is 8 seconds up to Rowan Kelly. That might be a big ask. All cars running in the 218s. But he has made his way through the field. Marcel Struff continues to lead in the 78 car. Let's get a good shot of the 78. We haven't seen much of him. As after Spammers had his issue, Marcel has driven a perfect race up here. On pit road, the 2 prospective teammates are in. Rotter took the lead on the timing screen, but that's just because his pit box is in front. He qualified ahead of Volmers. Jan made it to the pit box 5 seconds before. This will be full fuel, absolutely, to get all the way to the end, but you can see 37 minutes left. There goes Volmers. So he retakes that lead. And Bothma. Oh, it is Wally into the pits. So that is why Enos Bothma has retaken second place. The 827 on pit road, and I believe he did pit early as well the first time round. 37 minutes to a possible championship for the 91 of James Posland. He looks absolutely content to sit behind Matchison. I don't think he's made an attempt to lead this race at all. He won in Daytona. A fantastic come-from-behind win. And just trying to have a look at James' season. A win at Daytona, second places at Road America and Road Atlanta. Had a little bit of a tough time at Sebring and Interlagos. And then second places at Monza and Le Mans. And with 4 second-place finishes, that's all he's got to do to win the GTE title. And doesn't that sound familiar as I say it out loud? He will be the new GTE champion, but who is the 2-time non-defending GTE champion? That, of course, is Jen McDonald, who did exactly the same thing. She ran consistent all season long. She could win, but she almost didn't have to a lot of times. It was the consistency, race after race, and she won the GTE title in both Season 1 and Season 2. James Posland has really, now that I see it in front of me, has run the same formula. And if he can put these 35 minutes together, it'll be a championship for him as well. Porsche's first championship in the Night Racing League. They've looked very, very strong. And what if? What could have been really for Yuri Matchison? He was leading, remember, at Daytona. When he had that equipment failure, he actually had it says it was a broken USB cable, but it was something to do into his pedals. And it caused him to go off. He actually crashed on the exit of pit road after the first stint at Daytona. And then whether he was waiting for parts, maybe if they're watching, they can get back. Yuri did miss the next 2 races. Did not race at Road America or Road Atlanta. Of course, with the equipment failure and couldn't race, he disconnected and didn't receive any points at Daytona. So he basically joined the league with 0 points at Sebring. And it's been an incredible season. He actually didn't have very good luck. Remember that big crash coming out of Sunset, I believe it was. So it was an 8th place finish at Sebring, but then a win at Interlagos, a 3rd at Monza, a win at Le Mans. He's led all day here. So obviously the pace is there, the practice is there, the time he puts in, the racecraft is exceptional. So it will be a treat, and another car up front contending for the GT Pro Championship. I make assumptions on what classes these guys are going to race. A lot of them have been awarded super licenses, and we will see if any of them jump to LMP2. We said drivers like Eric Fox, Clayton Barklow, top front-running drivers are looking for teammates. Will anyone with a super license be tempted to make the switch? The only rumor, anyone talking specifically about making a GT to LMP jump, is Hayden Fowler in the 28 car. He has mentioned it multiple times. Not a fan of the GT3s, as he's just come out of the pits, has he? Yeah, he's just made his second pit stop. But definitely looking maybe to get in on the Night Racing Esports LMP2 program for Season 4. So it'll be interesting to see who he teams up with. We saw the battle in GT3 AM. Russell and Jensen on pit road together, so we'll see where they come out. Jen McDonald. What has happened? Eric Fox has left. Eric Fox is off track. That battle for 4th place. And we've had another disconnect. This happened to Keith Rainey early in the race, and it has happened to the 33. So that battle for 4th place, and that has promoted Seeley to 5th, Schwarz into 6th. How does that affect Eric Fox? 92 points coming into this race. Paul Seeley, 85. Fifth. So that would be an exact 100 points for Seeley. 12 for 6, 9 points for 7th. 101, 92 points. So, okay, so Fox has to finish this race to collect points. That's the important thing here. Of course, if you disconnect, you are not classified. But if he can get himself back in the lobby, get the car on track, and finish in 7th, he would keep 5th in the championship by a single point over the Canadian. So, incredibly bad luck. And we'll see how this turns out. The leader in GT3 AM is in for his final stop. Marcel Strouf, you hear the pit siren going. And the leader in GTE Pro will take the move. Hoseland has gone around. He will lead here, but he does owe us a pit stop. There is Seeley, all of a sudden in the top 5 in LMP, qualified in 9th place. He's had a fuel-saving day. We know he's trying to make this race on 2 stops. So pace has not really been there, but he hasn't put a foot wrong, and with people all around him having issues, the Canadian finds himself in 5th place, and if Eric Fox cannot reconnect, it'll be 5th in the championship as well. So we'll watch that. And as the sun is coming up, we're getting a good look at that livery. You can see the gold has been reduced down to trim. This is the Season 4 livery for this car. And way back in 1978, when the first go-kart hit the track for night racing, it was black and gold. Those are the historic colors for that team. And in 2022, they're going back. The blue is still there, as you see. You've got the blue gradients, which first made their appearance on the Lamborghini. You can see on the snake scales on the back. But the black is back, the black and gold, and it's great to see. This will be the night racing black LMP2 car in Season 4 with the historic colors coming back. Out of the pits is that battle for 4th place well, we'll just double check what it's for, but Alex Jensen, you can see, is behind Lincoln Russell, and that gap has opened up. There's still passing cars in the pits. Wally is in there for a 3rd pit stop. Why is Wally in for a 3rd pit stop? But Lincoln Russell now with 4-second gap on Jensen, and they have been promoted to 4th and 5th. There is Wally coming out. Looks like a normal pit stop, but why was he in a 3rd time? If somebody could tell me that, that would be great. And he has dropped all the way down to 6th place in GT3 AM after making his way up to the podium. So, was there a... His pit time does not look out of place, so it was the 2nd time he came down pit road that would have been the one I'm interested in. But it has dropped the champion all the way down to 6th and promoted Rob Rodriguez without a pit stop yet is actually leading this race now, the 39 car. But he owes us a pit stop, as did James Posland, who is on pit road. We'll see how that cycles through with the 185. There he is. Here comes Yuri Matchison, just now past the start-finish line. He's got to go through La Source. Posland has been on pit road for 17 seconds. We know this is the short stop. There he is. He's away. Coming down the hill is Matchison. And I think Posland's going to have the lead here. He's gone a lap further. He's just now coming out up the hill over Radillon. And yes, James Posland will have the lead. He's got to get himself up to speed. But after trailing for an hour and 40 minutes, James Posland is leading this race and maybe putting a huge stamp on the championship right here. These cars are so close in pace. Matchison, of course, in fourth. There's nothing he can do about that. He can't improve. He's not going to fall back. So he's got the race for the win here today. Posland has everything to lose if something goes wrong, so we'll see if and when he has to defend, how vigorously he does it. But for now, the Englishman is up front. Rodriguez just now hitting the pits in GT3M. That should, with a 45-second gap, give Marcel Struth the lead in GT3 again. Marcel with a 10-second lead over Rowan Kelly. The entire GT3M field has pitted, so this is the final stop. We'll see where Rodriguez slots back in. That car with a little bit of right side damage. It came into contact with the four of Thomas Brommel. I just don't think he saw the second car coming through or thought he was going to do it before No Name. And they had a little side-to-side contact. The Ferrari came off worse in that exchange. Posland now, Matchison is right back with him. These two have not been more than 0.2 of a second apart all day long, except for the lap when Matchison went into the pits earlier. And we'll see what he wants to do. That is the 78 of Marcel Struth. Just in front of them, he has retaken the lead just now as they go down the hill. As the GT leaders are all together, Matchison having a look, but he's not going to do it here. With a 10-second lead, Struth gets out of the way. Oh, and down the hill, a nice little exit, and Matchison will retake the lead in GT Pro. Very tight on the back bumper, but no contact. I think with that entrance to the last part of Lecum, a little bit of momentum was lost by Posland. It gave Matchison a great run down the hill, and as we expected, not a huge defense. There's a much bigger picture here for the 91 car, and he will slot back in behind. We'll see if he has any inkling to come back to try and get the race win in the next 23 minutes. There is the 32 of Jan Volmers. 4 seconds now the lead in LMP, ahead of Dennis Rotter. Thomas Brommel is well back now. He's sort of, I think, just making sure he's got enough fuel. If anybody in front of you has to come down for a splash and go, it's going to cost them a minute. So technically, all you got to be is within 55 seconds, and you'll be guaranteed to get a pass if you can make it. Because that minute is not even the time it takes for you to fuel. That's just driving down pit road. Andreas Sakalis being overtaken by Jen McDonald. He is now 29 seconds off the race lead. So it's a tall order. Something has to happen, and I just don't see it happening between these two. They have driven perfect all day long and absolutely nose to tail. Posland with a very, very good run down here, but you can tell he's decided as the headlamps come back on. We've had a little bit of a cloud go overhead. to go on board here with the 91 car and give you a lap around Spa. That was very wide coming out of No Name, so you do have to be careful of incident limits. Lap 44 in the GTE Pro class, 20 minutes to go. In a spectacular season as we come down the hill to Eau Rouge. Huge compression on the limit every lap, and a flash of the headlamps. Isn't that interesting? I wonder what that's about. Aiden Campbell has come into the pits for a third time. That has promoted Hayden Fowler up to fourth. So wait and see. Maybe this is a drive-through penalty. Aiden's having a great run today. Kevin Hensel is also passed. It was a drive-through, so we've had incident limits. I've got a feeling Jacob Wally also fell foul to the 10X with his mystery third time down pit road. He could add a 2X on the first lap for his loss of control. I don't recall any contact for the 827. We do a quick field rundown here to show you where everybody is. There is Volmers, your race leader, and right behind, Dennis Rotter is reeling him in. It's down to 3.6 seconds at the front of the LMP2 field. Thomas Brommel now in third place in the 4 car. And it looks like he's resigned himself to that. He's making sure he's got enough fuel. He's got gaps in front and behind. Jen McDonald in 4th has been really gifted that with Eric Fox, who is not back on track. He's in 7th place. Paul Seeley running in 5th now. Eric Fox, as long as he stays connected to the lobby, go back. It is Andreas Schwarz now recovered to 6th after his opening lap crash at No Name. But the 33 is not on circuit. Keith Rainey in the 6 car is on circuit, but no, he's 13 laps behind Fox, so he is not going to overtake him. So as long as Fox can can reconnect to be part of this, he's going to retain that 5th place in the points. We've seen all the leaders in GTE Pro for the entire race. Matchison and Posland. 16 minutes left. Posland exactly where he needs to be to claim the GTE Pro title from this man, the 717 of Andreas Sakalis. You can see a little crinkle on that left rear quarter panel. Lap number 2. He just caught a little too much of the curbing entering Lecum. It jumped sideways, and he collected the 28 of Hayden Fowler, who now runs in 4th place. That's your championship battle in GTE Pro. And 31 seconds up the road, James Posland has it all his way. He's got 15 minutes. In behind Fowler is his teammate Kevin Hensel. Hensel in the top 5. Aiden Campbell has just served a drive-through for track limits, so the 23 car has dropped to 6th place. Part of that opening lap kerfuffle was the 77 of Ivan Zirino. He's running in 7th. And that is the last GTE Pro car on track, as Riebensteiner, Berry, Cater, and Shilekas have all retired from this race. In GT3 AM, it is Marcel Struff looking for his first Night Racing League victory, and what a statement he's made here on the final day. He's got a 10-second lead over the 222 of Rowan Kelly, also having one of his best races of the season. Rowan's best finish was a 2nd. He looks to equalize that here today, as the 39 of Rob Rodriguez Jr. has got himself back on the podium. We thought that car had a little damage. It was off on pace, but he's got himself back up into 3rd place. The 29 of Lincoln Russell is just behind in 4th. We'll see if he can get himself back out front. 5th place is the 45 of Alex Jensen. Jacob Wally, we believe, had a drive-through penalty and has dropped from that 3rd place all the way down to 6th. Enos Bothma is now down in 7th place. Enos took tires and we believe some damage as well. Stopped for 1 minute and 25 seconds on his 2nd pit stop. So we missed that. The 395 now in 7th place. Steve Groninga runs behind him in 8th. If we can get the camera to switch to the yellow Ferrari, there he is. And the final car running in GT3 AM is the 999 of Jan Spammers, who is in the pits. He had to stop for damage earlier. And after leading this race, actually crashed out of the lead of the GT3 AMs. And that's what put Marcel Struff, who was right behind him, in the lead. And he hasn't looked back. 12.5 minutes to go. James Posland continues in that gap. I just don't get the impression he needs or wants to do anything about it. Andreas Sakalis now 34 seconds off the lead. He dropped a 2nd on the last lap and has dropped a few more seconds prior to that. As the LMP leader comes through, we go 3 wide before Pouin. They did not go 3 wide into Pouin, thankfully. That was the LMP2 and the GT3 AM leader splitting the Porsche there. trying to do the math. They're just coming across the line with 11 minutes to go with 2-minute laps. I think we're going to have about 6 laps to go when these cars cross the line. Your race leader, Jan Volmers, is just now coming to the start-finish line. Should be about 6 more laps. We've got an LMP on pit road. Who is that? It's Keith Rainey. Keith Rainey in for a 3rd pit stop. Good on Keith. Technical issues got him knocked out of the lobby early on. I believe it was lap 4. He's got himself reconnected. He's 25 laps down. I believe he cannot make any positions up. I think that 6 car is going to be retired. He's going to get himself off track, make sure he's not in the way of anyone trying to settle a points place here. We have lots of them being settled up and down the fields. Starting to get clear, but we won't declare anything for the last 10 minutes. There's Jan Spammers running with the 222 of Rowan Kelly. And that is Hayden Fowler. Looks like it's going to be a 4th place for the Canadian. Another fantastic season. Five podiums in Season 3 for Hayden, including a race win at Monza. It's been an incredible 2021, actually, for the Night Racing Blue Team, dominating high splits in the 6-hour endurance races. They've had special event wins. It's been a very, very good year, and it'll be sad to see the C8, the Corvette go, the C8R. But on to bigger and better things and new challenges in the future. I had a good talk with Wayne Wortley the other day. Of course, he's the head man of this South African contingent as we watch Jan Spammers in the 999. Very happy with how his cars have progressed through the season, and very much looking forward to Season 4 as well. Getting them paired up and prepared for another year in the Night Racing League and ready for the special events. That's what all these drivers race here for. To race in the series with the driving standards you don't find in mid or low splits, and to do full race distances and stints where you can get yourself prepared. I think the team aspect is going to be something that will really, really be fun to watch, as the drivers will come to practices and be working on setups together, which again really lends itself well to racing in special events. They'll probably have teams working on setups that they will for sure be using a week later in the special events, the 24 and 12-hour races. But it'll be interesting to see how the strategies work out. We've seen it very well done by Dennis Rotter and Thomas Brommel. They have got to be the poster childs of teamwork and showing how it can be done. And Dennis moving on to a new team. But up and down the field, it's going to be very exciting to see how Season 4 transpires. Who pairs up with who? Who's running which cars? The big announcement this week was, of course, that the GT, although AM and Pro will all be GT3, they will not be split by manufacturer. The teams will have open season Of course, we'll only be able to have 7 cars. We're not sure if the Ford or the McLaren will be the one that's dropped. It's up in the air right now, depending on what people want to run. But you'll be able to see the Porsche 911 GT3, this Ferrari Evo. You'll be able to see pro teams running it, as well as AM teams. There will be likely some stickers on the car, denoting whether they're AM or pro, but we'll also have it in the timing screens as well. Rowan Kelly well out wide. That's going to let spammers go through as he's a lap down. He's actually 2 laps behind Rowan Kelly due to that damage repair. As Paul Seeley coming through the GTE Pro leaders, that is Jan Volmers behind him. So the 72 is going to get himself lapped here. He's waited for the run up to Blanchimont to go through. Both LMPs will get by before we get to Blanchimont. And then the Canadian will allow the race leader by with the blue flags, and everything is sorted. That's going to take a lap off the 72, and if anybody had to pit in front of him, say McDonald can't make it on fuel, that's not going to give him the opportunity to go around and make the pass. So that's a significant development there for 72, who we know has been saving fuel all race. But he just now has had a lap clipped off of his race distance. Dennis Rotter now makes his way through that GTE Pro lead pair. And Brommel has really dropped back now. Since that second pit stop, when Rotter got away from him, he's realized there's nothing to do there. He's going to, with a 3rd place finish, I believe Thomas Brommel is going to take 2nd place in the championship. McDonald in 4th. He received 18 points, 23 for Brommel. And he was only 4 points behind, so the 5-point difference between 3rd and 4th. McDonald came into this race with 114 points, Brommel with 110. So Thomas Brommel in the 4 car will move himself up into 2nd place. And he's dropped all the way. He's almost a minute off the race lead now. This is that battle for the final podium spot in GT3 AM. Lincoln Russell has now regained the draft here on the 39 car of Rob Rodriguez. And we may have, he's having a look already. A little bit of a block. Two laps to go the last time around for Jan Volmers. He's just now heading into Eau Rouge. This is the battle on track for the final podium position. Everything else has sort of sorted itself out. And Lincoln Russell will solidify a top 5 in the points, breaking that tie with Steve Groninga, who is currently running in 8th place. But how nice would it be to be up on the podium to close out the season? They should have 2 laps remaining as they cross the line. I'm just looking where Volmers is. He's just entering Pouan right now. Will he come around? I think he might catch these guys. So even though they're not going to see the 1 to go symbol, this could be starting their final lap. It all depends whether the 32 car catches and passes them. They exit the bus stop as Volmers is exiting Paul Frere. And they will start lap 51 with a minute to go. The 32 car right here. We'll watch that gap very closely. The GTE Pro leaders are just behind. They're now just exiting Paul Frere, so they will get one to go as well as we start the final lap of Season 3 in the Night Racing League Sports Car Championship. Jan Volmers leads Dennis Rotter. There they are on the same screen. It's a 3.5 second gap. Jan has driven a great race as Lincoln Russell on the outside does get that position. I think the straight line speed of that 39 has been compromised. He's driven a fabulous race to get himself up there. And even though he dropped down, a drive-through for the 827 as well as a quicker pit stop put himself back on the podium. So it's still going to be an incredible fourth place finish. What's the gap back to Jensen? Just under 20 seconds. So a great run. On the last lap, the GTE Pros, it looks very much like James Posland is going to forget about the victory and collect the big picture. These two continue to run. They're just now entering the final turn here at Paul Frere. I don't know if Volmers is going to get them. Very close. He's 2 corners behind. If we pan back, that's Aiden Campbell, and the next car right there is Jan Volmers, but I think they're going to make the line, and we'll have one more lap. The gap seems to be opening up, though, so I'm not sure if if Rodriguez has anything for Russell anyway. But entering the bus stop in his debut race in the Night Racing League, the 222 has dropped off the screen. There are things happening. Jan Volmers will win at Spa. Dennis Rotter second. Okay, so it was just timing things that were going on. We'll watch the GT3s finish later, but right now, it's all about this. Jori Masterson is going to win the final round in GTE Pro, but your champion for Season 3, driver of the 91 Porsche RSR, James Posland, your GTE Pro champion. Enos Bachmann will come home in 7th place. Up front in GT3 AM, just coming through Lefania now. Marcel Struff, what a race. Thomas Brommel has finished in 4th in LMP. It's been a fantastic race, not a wheel wrong, and it's going to result in his first victory as we're up to the final corner. Congratulations to the driver of the number 78 BMW M4. Marcel Struff wins at Spa. And a fantastic second place finish for Rowan Kelly. His second podium of the season, the gold Lamborghini finishes second. Lincoln Russell I believe, finished. He did finish in third. We'll get that off the screen as it's not telling us anything. All right, we'll get our final results up. Jan Volmers is your winner. Dennis Rotter and Thomas Brommel complete the podium. Jennifer McDonald, even with a 10-second penalty, does hold on to finish in 4th place. Paul Seeley goes from 9th on the grid to finish in the top 5. Problems for Schwarz. Fox is 7th. Rainey and Schlabs was not classified. GTE Pro, it is Yori Matchison, your winner, but James Poslin collects the prize. Andreas Sakalis finishes on the podium in 3rd. Hayden Fowler, Kevin Hensel, and Aiden Campbell, followed by Ivan Zirino in 7th. The rest of the GTE Pro class was not classified as they did not finish the race. In GT3 AM, Marcel Struff wins his first KRL endurance race ahead of Rowan Kelly, and Rob Rodriguez Jr. does finish back in 3rd place. Lincoln Russell, some kind of issue that we missed on the final lap, is in 4th. Alex Jensen, 5th. Jacob Wally, 6th. Enos Bothma, Steve Groninga, Jan Spammers, Nicholas Scott ended up down in 10th place. What does that mean in the points? Well, Dennis Rotter was your champion, and look at what happened in behind him today. Thomas Brommel does collect 2nd place in the title by 1 point over Jennifer McDonald. Clayton Barklow will hold on to 4th even in his absence today. Eric Fox had technical issues but holds on to 5th by a single point over Paul Seeley. Keith Rainey 7th, Andreas Schwartz 8th. Your GTE Pro champion, it's official after a spectacular race. 184 points. He's your championship winner over Andreas Sakalis, who finishes 2 points back. Hayden Fowler, 3rd with 171. Yori Matchison, your winner here today. An incredible season. We can't wait to see how he fares in Season 4. He finishes in 4th ahead of Kevin Hensel, Ivan Zirino, Aiden Campbell. GT3 AM, Jacob Wally moves on with a pro license. Marcel Struff, with his win, takes 2nd place in the GT3 AM class, ahead of Enos Bothma, who moves up into 3rd. Congratulations, that's your top 3. Jan Spammers, Lincoln Russell, Steve Groninga in 6th, ahead of Rowan Kelly, Forrest Alico, Steve McLean. Rob Rodriguez Jr., who joined us late, gets into the top 10. Well, it is on to Season 4. We hope everybody's enjoyed the 8 races here. It's been a spectacular season of close racing. And we have Season 4 ready to kick off on the 8th of January at the Barcelona Historic Track. 9 hours of practice for every race. There will be a team and driver championships. And don't forget, when we're not racing the endurance races, we have the challenge races, non-points events, but there'll be 90-minute races to get ready for the special events at Bathurst, the Nürburgring combined. I cannot wait for that. And the Spa 24-hour has its race 1 week prior on July 18th. We'll do a 90-minute race there to get ready for that. As well as challenge weekends, GT3 and prototype challenges at the 5 races on the left, 1 hour challenge races. It's going to be an incredible Season 4. We can't wait, and we look forward to seeing everybody getting their teams registered starting tomorrow. And we'll be back for you in 4 weeks' time. Whatever flavor of holiday you celebrate, have a great holiday season. Have a safe and happy New Year, and we will see you back here for Season 4 on the Night Racing League. Thanks for watching. We'll see you in 22.